Now can you hear me? Can you hear me now? I've been talking for 3 minutes. All right, guys on Instagram, I'm in a studio right now, and I'm also live on other platforms. You can hear me, but they couldn't hear me. It's my fault. Oh, you can hear me now. Everybody say yes. Give me a thumbs up and a heart if you can hear me. Dog. Man, you guys stuck around for me. I love it. Someone says, no, I hear you. Say, yes, I can hear you in the comments, please. Quickly, type it. Hello, you hear me? Funny lesson that you learn is you want to get fancy with the technology. Okay, you want to get fancy with technology, and then you run into glitches. So learning lesson. All right. Back to what I was saying. I'm going to get right into it. Here behind me, I have this whiteboard. I'm going to move my mic out of the way. So I was reading this book. I read it 3.5 times. It's called The Cash Flow Quadrant by Robert Kiyosaki. And I'm also going to talk about, I'm just going to jump right into it. In Kiyosaki's book, The Cash Flow Quadrant, he drew this map and this powerful distinction. You can get the book on audible.com. But the way I see it is owning a service business, it tells you kind of where you're at. He said that 95% of the people in America only control 5% of the money. Let me make sure everybody can see that. Yeah, you can see that. Let me put this down. There, 95% of the people only control 5% of the money. And those 95% people are E's and S's. What is an E and an S? It's an employee or a self-employed person. Maybe even small business owner. But most of us, we're like, we own businesses, but we're really kind of self-employed. And he drew this like this, a circle. He goes, why do 95% of the people only control 5% of the money? Because they're employees and self-employed people. So, but there are some really high paid employees, you know, doctors, lawyers, dentists, physicians, people that have high levels of expertise. You know, the amount of people lined up to do the same exact thing really kind of determines what you can get paid. Because if you got 10,000 people in a city lined up to do the same damn thing, then it kind of becomes like a commoditized thing versus positioning yourself as somebody who's not only a generalist, but a specialist. And then you become an expert. Above that, you become an authority, then celebrity, then a celebrity authority, which is an authority to the celebrities. There's some high paid employees. I am like the dude. I'm like, I hate jobs. I've had like 34 jobs. I've been fired from a bunch of jobs. I'll never get a job ever again. But now that I have hundreds of landscaping and window cleaning clients in my service business, a lot of my clients are actually employees, live in bigger houses than me, drive Mercedes. I'm not saying that they're not in debt or anything, but like there's some high paid employees and there's also self-employed people. But under here, he wrote like S can stand for Superman. You got a cape on and you do everything. If it's meant to be, it's up to me. He also wrote stress. Self-employed people can get really stressed out because a lot of times you're the first person in there in the morning to turn the lights on and get the shit going. You got the keys and you're the last person to leave in the evening. And you're the one there up all night doing the paperwork and crunching the numbers. And S also stands for psychopath because you can't get to the point where you're so stressed out that you go into like what's it called? You're stressed and it turns into a neurology, like neurosis. And then it can turn into a pathology, which can go into psychosis. Like I have worked for a lot of jobs and I've had landscape bosses, several of them in the middle of like the summer when they're just swamped, right? I have seen landscape bosses that I've worked for come out of the house back when I had a job, bags under their eyes and hair all messed up, look like they ain't showered or shaved in a week, coffee shaking, late. We're all waiting and they're like, motherfuckers like this. I'm like, bro, what happened to, I won't say their names. And they're just that stressed out that they've gone into a state of psychosis. And they're like, here's the keys to the trucks. Just go run the business, blow it up for all I care. And I never understood what was going on there until I started my own landscape business. And I was the dude in front of an employee punching my steering wheel in the truck on a summer day in July, going, I'm only one person. I'm only one person. Right? Because you got 6 phones ringing, 8 clients mad. Dude, you're getting it from all ends. Self-employed still only controls 5% of the money. What's going on here, dog? Shit. So, see, it's just me on here today, which is nice. All right. So, but also over here on the other side of the quadrant, there's a line down the middle. It's a big line. It's a chasm. It's an ever-growing chasm. Here, Drew. Everybody can hear me clear. I see the comments coming in. We on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Shit, dog. All right. 5% of the people in America over here control 95% of the wealth. 95%, dog. What are they doing? So he drew B and I. What's that stand for? B, business owner or big business owner or B-type business owner. So how do you what is a B-type business owner? And I'll get to the I in a second. What up, though? You with me? Give me a thumbs up, a heart in the comments, something. Say what up, though. People always say, why is this Kelfis guy saying what up, though? Oh, it's a Detroit thing, dog. I don't know. I just grew up saying what up, though. And I always will. I'm literally going to be like 70 saying what up, though. Okay, so a B-type business owner. I'll get to I in a second. So this is like a true business owner, according to like Kiyosaki. And if you read the book, The Parable of the Pipeline by Burke Hedges, which is an amazing book. Like I read that book cover to cover. The second I got that book, Parable of the Pipeline by Burke Hedges, I sat down and read the whole book cover to cover nonstop in like 3.5 hours. By the time I got done reading the book, I was shaking. My lips were all dry and nothing to drink. It was only 3.5 hours, but like I couldn't stop reading it. And it was amazing. I'll tell you the story of Pablo and Bruno in a second and why this makes so much sense. Are you excited? You excited? Excited. Okay. So a B-type business owner can walk away from their business for 6 months, hands off. And if you listen, basically 6 months hands off and their business just keeps generating the same amount or more revenue. It grows without them. Why? Because the business has systems. So over here, when I drew this circle, what is this circle? Why do only 5% of the people control 95% of the people only have 5% of the money? Because they're in the rat race. That's what this circle is, because they're trading time for dollars. When you're trading time for dollars, you have to keep trading time for dollars. Like it's an infinity loop. And here I'm going to draw a bucket, and I'll tell you what the bucket is in a second. Everybody can see the bucket? All right, you can see the bucket down the sheet. Let me read some of these comments. Read the comments. All right, everybody's cool in the comments. All right, so you're in a time for money trap. Employees and self-employed people over B-type business people have systems in place that the system, so they don't work for money. They invest time and energy and money into business systems and people. And then the system generates the revenue and the money so that when it's systematized, I just read an amazing book. I'm reading constantly, but Work the System. By Sam Carpenter on Kindle. I got myself a Kindle e-reader. Who here is addicted to social media? And I'm trying to read a book on Kindle on my phone, and then something pops up on Instagram. Looking at planes taking off and landing. I love planes taking off and landing. It didn't make me no fucking money. So I had to get myself a Kindle so you can only read books. So I read this book, Work the System by Sam Carpenter, and the guy's pulling his hair out after like 13 years of running his business. He's laying in bed one night at 3:00 in the morning in the rain, and he feels his soul coming out of his body because he was so stressed out. He's on the verge of a nervous breakdown and bankruptcy because he's so burned out from 100-hour work weeks. He's not watching his family grow up. The guy's just completely, like, his whole dream of running his business has become a nightmare, and he can't do it anymore. It's not profitable. He's getting by the skin of his teeth. And he said only when, Sam Carpenter said, he finally threw in the towel. Emotionally, psychologically, spiritually, he was done. He's like, get this monkey off my back. I'm shutting down the business. I'm done. The next morning, he was going to shut down the whole business. He said, now we talk about the dip. The dip, if you read the book by Seth Godin, The Dip, and when you're in the trench, when you're in the trenches, when you're in the valley and you finally let go and you surrender, right? If you read the book by Stephen R. Hawkins, Power versus Force and the Power of Letting Go, only at the point when you've gone through so much struggle that you just let go. You're like, I accept. I'm done with this. He said in that moment, he felt like the spiritual experience where all these answers just came flooding into his mind, into his life, into his subconscious. And he saw his whole business as just a series of systems. And it was simple because now he was emotionally detached on the outside of the fishbowl from the outside. He could just look at his business and see it without it being plugged into his nervous system in a do or die situation. He went back in with 18 months, systematized the whole business, and then he grew his business. And now it's like he works about 1 hour per week in his business, and it just works. It would be like a good definition of a B-type business system. But the reason this line is down the middle, because this is not just a chasm. It's not just a financial chasm. This is a psycho-emotional. It's a transformational chasm. You have to have a breakdown, have a breakthrough, and have some complete transcendence where you transcend from one side to the other, and you go on the other side, and you're like, whoa, like it's a change of heart. It's a change of everything. And I'm not saying it's good or bad or right or wrong. It's just relative to the experience you're having, others are having of you. And that's all it is. And that's the good news. But it's a complete transformation in your consciousness. So Kiyosaki says. Now, if I get back down to the bucket, and by the way, I type means just investors, 300 grand on the nightstand at all times, according to like Kiyosaki, for investing. And that's instead of running on the rat wheel, time for money, instead of business systems. Money strictly makes you money. Your money does the heavy lifting and works for you. Now back to the bucket. I'm going to tell you what the bucket is. I'm going to tell you the story of. So real quick, who's here? Self-employed. Who's here? You're like, oh, I'm here. I'm self-employed. Or I'm an employee getting my business off the ground. How do we get here and here? Or partially get to the point where we have passive income streams flowing or multiple streams of income, or what are we running our business in? We just had Paul Jameson on, and we've had Joshua Latimer on a couple of days ago talking about this stuff in the 5 different stages of business. Stage 1 is where you're chucking a truck, do it all. Multiple hats. Stage 2 is where you got employees in the field, but you're still doing everything. Stage 3 is where you got out of the field and you got an office manager and you got some lead techs running the business and you're still doing everything, running the marketing and the sales. But stage 4 is like you're just innovation and you've got people running the business for you. Stage 5, you're a complete absentee owner. You don't do anything. It's completely automated, systematized. It's almost like you're off doing other things. So how can you as a self-employed person start thinking on the other side of the chasm and say, how can I, something like, I don't know, like if I did like, I don't even do lawn care anymore, but if I did, I'd be like, how could I put all my customers on a 360 automated billing thing, get all their credit cards and have them sign a contract where it just bills them automatically every single month and I don't have to deal with them anymore. Like something like that. And then how can you take that money and invest it into something else that throws off passive income? So after 2, 5, 10, it could take 15 years to the point where your passive income starts to pass your earned income. And next thing you know, you'd be freed up, dog. Instead of going and getting a vacation home in a fucking RV and I got a fucking Rolex, dog, can't even afford it. You're on a lawnmower with a Rolex. And fucking guy with the weed whip. Literally his weed, no glasses. Luckily, don't hit him with that. Shoots a rock across the yard, breaks your Rolex. My Rolex, and your stupid ass lawnmower. Get out of here. See what I'm saying, dog? Shit! Freaking out here. So. Oh, yeah, back to the bucket. Let me get to the comments. What up, though? All right, I see Austin King. I see Ultimate Retaining Walls. Peace be with you. RW Soft Wash. Brett Hill. YMG Landscaping. Green Up Lawn Care. Alvin Chica Lawn Care. What up, though? Jacob Sullivan. Okay. Back to what I'm saying. Shit. The bucket. There's Pablo and Bruno. This is like 1,000 years ago. There's a city with a village. Now, I wonder if I could flip this. Can you see this? Because you got to see this. There's a village. All right, there's a little village. Could be a big village. And the village has a well. And over here is a freshwater stream. And here's a bucket. The village needs water in the town cistern, the well, so everybody have water. And they don't know how to get water except for to carry a bucket or buckets to the stream, walk a mile, dip the bucket in, go dump it. So the town gets together and they say, you know what, we need to pull together our funds and our resources, and we need to hire a couple strong guys in the village to carry buckets of water back and forth every day, all day, 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, to get water into the well, or the cistern, so everybody has water. So they hire Pablo and Bruno. Pablo and Bruno have a new job. It's a safe, secure job, and they're carrying buckets of water now, and it's like day one, and they're so excited, and they're getting paid. But by like the third day of carrying these heavy buckets of water, their hands are blistered, they're sunburned, and like it's not so fun anymore. But Pablo gets this idea. Him and Bruno are walking side by side. They're friends. Pablo's like, oh my God, I have this idea. I had a vision. I was thinking about this last night. Bruno, what if at night and on the weekends, we take some of the money that we earned from our day job and we go out and we start, we get some shovels and pickaxes and wheelbarrows, and we start digging a trench from the well, from the stream all the way to the town. Like we could dig a trench, like a mile-long trench, and then we can install a pipeline and then a pump and a filter. And then when we turn it on, he goes, I don't know how long it could take. It could literally take us a year or 2 or 5 years. But once we do it, we'll be rich, Bruno. Won't have to carry buckets anymore. And Bruno's like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard, Pablo. Like, why would you do that? Like, doesn't even make it. He had no vision, right? He's like, shut up. You're going to make us lose our good job. Like, this was me. I remember when I worked at a dead end job at a company, and there was like 150 employees. I'm reading all these audiobooks and conspiracy theories, and I went down the rabbit hole. I'm telling the other employees, there's chemtrails. They're poisoning us, chemtrails. We need to start a business and get rich so we can get away from the chemtrails. And they literally took me to the side and they're like, Kelfus, we like you a lot. You got to stop this nonsense. So you're going to have to get out of here, because nothing's more important than the team. Like, and I'm not saying you're wrong. There might be chemtrails, bro. But you can't be telling the other employees this. And about this stuff of starting a business, like I was a threat to their organization. A threat. I was in these MLM companies selling bottles of, I'm not going to say the name of the company, like this healthy juice. Actually, I'm embarrassed. And I didn't make no money off of it. And I'm like bringing like these pamphlets to the employees at work. And I'm trying so hard to build a business and make money. And it was all failing. And I started a landscape business. And it worked. But anyway, so Pablo doesn't listen to Bruno. And on the weekend, he literally goes and gets a shovel and some tools, and he's digging a trench. Bruno and his boys are hanging out. It's Saturday. And they see Pablo digging. And they go, what are you doing? Pablo's like, I told you, I'm digging the pipeline, bro. And Pablo and Bruno and his friends started making fun of Pablo, being like, dude, that's the dumbest thing ever. Like, it doesn't make any sense. But Pablo had a vision. So this went on for like months and months and months. And finally, Pablo, after months goes by, in the book, The Parable of the Pipeline by Burke Hedges, it said like 3 months into it, Bruno was making good money. He's blowing his paychecks. He's buying rounds of drinks at the bar, while Pablo is saying inch by inch, it's a cinch. And he's out there busting his ass on Saturdays and Sundays, building this pipeline. It could be you in a job trying to grow your business, or it could be you in your business trying to grow your business. Or it could be in your business, like whatever that next step is for you. This is just like the overview. So while nobody had faith but Pablo, and he had long-term vision and tenacity, and he stuck in when the times got tough because he had a vision and faith, one day the trench and the pipeline and the pump was finally done. He dropped in the pump and started priming it, and water started flowing and started overflowing the cistern at the town where the well was, where they needed water. It was literally overflowing, and he had to shut it off and put a gauge on it and shit. And Bruno and everybody in the town is like, oh my God, it's amazing. He's genius. Like, he's celebrated. So now Pablo never had to work ever again, because he created a passive income stream at night and on the weekends through tenacity, while Bruno was now broke and all sunburned. But they called Pablo a genius, and they were like, bro, what are you going to do now? Are you just going to like lay on a hammock and drink all day in the sun? He's like, no, now that I know how to do this. He took track and he took notes and documents and everything that it took. He said, now I know how to do it. I can do it in a third of the time. And I'm going to locate villages all over the place. And I'm going to start to build pipelines to villages all over the countryside and become like wealthy. So, and then he basically hired Bruno to keep tabs on the pipelines and make sure that they were running properly and that the filters were clean and that the pumps were being installed properly. My smoke detector is going off. Not going off. It's just a battery test. So, and so that's like the vision. You know what I'm saying? Let me check the comments here. The mayor of Pound Town. I'm seeing all your comments. Jim Duffin, what's up? Crazy weather in Metro Detroit. Texas Green Valley. Nara Mitra Utility Services, what's up? Horner J. Gerard Morales. Bobby Chelstorp. Hope everybody's doing well. So I want to teach you one more thing. I wonder if I could flip this around. I'll do one more recap. ESBI, employee, self-employed, B-type business owner, investor. Crossing the chasm. 95% of the people make 5% of the money. They're employees and self-employed people. Over here, 5% of the people in America control 95% of the wealth, because wealth is measured in time. And the B-type business owners and investors. We're probably most likely here. We're here. We're S's. We're self-employed or tiny, tiny, tiny small business owners. But being aware of all this stuff can give you vision and say, oh, I ultimately maybe want to be here. Or a really high-paid self-employed or small business owner who invests money into things that eventually so you can retire young, retire rich. Another book by Kiyosaki. And if you follow David, I can't think of his name. This guy taught me about investing in the Vanguard Star Fund. David Bach. He's a wealth coach. Oh, we have one more piece of paper. All right. Here's one other thing I want to share with you. One second. About 20 years ago, Michael Dell, the founder of Dell Computers, became a billionaire. And he was at the Detroit Economic Club of luncheon, and he talked about, he drew 3 C's up on the whiteboard. And although we know this today, I just kind of want to define it. Because I'm like so obsessed with marketing. I go into the past of marketing, and I want to know who the people that I look up to, who do they look up to? It's like, look at your favorite musicians and artists today in music. Like, you ever see on, I don't know, Facebook or Instagram that some famous old producer passed away? You'd be like, I think I heard of that guy. Oh, wow. He literally was the producer of, like, I don't know, think of the biggest pop stars of all time, like a Prince or someone, and then I will go look up that producer. Like, this guy produced Bryan Adams, and I'll do some research, and I'll be like, oh my God, this famous producer who passed away used to be in a famous jazz band himself in the 50s or 40s, and we didn't even know that he was the jazz player, and he came from a family of musicians and started his own like record label, and then founded some of the top artists in the world back then, which found the top artists in the world today. And basically what I'm saying is that there's people that are so crazily important that we don't even like think twice about, that if it wasn't for their position in the music industry or in business, nothing would be like it is today. Like, I have so much profound respect for certain business people who write books and put themselves out there, do this. So when I'm looking up like Michael Dell's content, commerce, and community, and his 3 C's, he made this distinction back then that was so epic. So he drew 3 C's on the board, and he drew a line between the second and third C. And he said that, to make money online, and the reason I'm making this distinction is because if you have a service business, it's so incredibly important that you're broadcasting your message all over the internet, but in the right places to get in front of your prospects, your customers, and your potential customers. So you have to have content. I'll just write it again. So you have to have content online. You have to have graphics and advertisements and marketing and be on social media or ads or Google AdWords or pay-per-click or be on Google My Business. You have to be putting out, broadcasting your message and have content out there. And I really like videos and getting your customers to know and like you and trust you with like before and after photos and videos of your work. Like I've gotten a ton of leads from my YouTube videos, and I have customers who are like, I saw you on YouTube and blah, blah. I'm local in the area. So I think everybody should have a YouTube channel. But the second thing he drew with the other C is commerce. COMMERCE, commerce. Commerce, the definition of commerce. Let me go get my Black's Law dictionary. 1 second. Because to me, commerce is the transaction of business and services. Like you have something in commerce that you're transacting. You have a shopping cart set up for sale. You're collecting money by providing this service. Mowing lawns, cleaning windows, installing retaining walls, landscaping. All right, COM. Commerce. 1 second. This is going to be good. This is a deeper lesson here. Oh, commerce. Here we go. The exchange of goods, productions, or property of any kind. The buying, selling, and exchanging of articles. Oil and refining. The transportations of persons and property by land, water, and air. By way of trade and traffic between different peoples or states and the citizens or inhabitants thereof, including not only the purchase, sale, and exchange of commodities, but also the instrumentalities and agencies by which it is promoted, and the means and appliances by which it is carried on, and transportation of persons as well as goods, both by land and sea. The term commerce means trade, traffic, commerce, transportation, or communication among the several states or between the District of Columbia or territory of the United States or any state or territory between any foreign and state territory. We used to do that in school. Literally, I would read. They'd call on me to read something, and I'd like the term commerce means, and I would read as fast as I could, and the teacher would get all pissed, and I would just leave the class and go down to the gym, and I would take an orange and throw it at the wall, and it would explode, and I would start playing the piano. Man, I needed my ass whooped. Did I take a chocolate milk? I was a really, really good kid. I think I was trying to get attention or something. Maybe I was having some problems at home. I think, yeah, I took like an orange or a chocolate milk, and I literally Nolan Ryan style, and I threw it and exploded all over dude, I got in trouble. I don't know why I did that. It was horrible. Don't ever do that. What am I talking about? All right, so you got content, commerce, and then the third C, he drew a line. So he said anybody that's going to make money in business in the future of the internet, you have to have these two things. I know this for sure. You have to have content, and you have to have commerce. Ways of transacting goods and money so you can get money, right? You have commerce if you're a merchant and you have a table set up and you're selling things or you're providing services by way of word of mouth. But on the internet, you have to have content out there. Good. Now, I'm not talking about defining the space and chopping up video pause, your messaging and all that. I'm just talking about like a higher level overview. But he said, even myself, I don't even understand this. He drew a third C. What's the third C? What is it? Huh? You ever see Curb Your Enthusiasm with Larry David? The stare down when he looks in their eyes, huh? Okay. All right, so the third C is community. Community. Said anybody who can figure out this will rule the internet, will rule making a ton of money in their business by using the internet to market their goods and services and transact. So how do you create community? Well, you have to get a community of loyal buyers who are raving fans who want to come back to you and only you, and it could create a closed loop system. And hundreds of books have been written about this. It's all over the place, but I'm just identifying it. How do you create a community of clients, loyal buyers, raving fans? Get obviously their name, their phone number, their email addresses. You retarget them on Facebook, the Facebook pixel. You email your clients. You you send them postcards, flyers, brownies, cookies, and you build a community. And don't let them go anywhere else. And then they create a word of mouth referral marketing system. And so there you go. That's Michael Dell's 3 C's. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to get to the comments here. Think about that. When you go to bed tonight, be like, Kelfish was talking about Michael Dell's 3 C's, content, commerce, and community. And then it'll be like 4 a.m. and you're like, you just wake up and you're like, I've got it. And your wife is like, go back to bed. You scared me. You scared me. Sometimes last night, we have date night. Every single Tuesday night, we've had like 400 consecutive date nights in a row. Every Tuesday night, me and the wife try. Last night we had date night. What did we do? I'll tell you what we did. Oh yeah, we went to Cooper's Hog. We got dinner. We got a bottle of wine. We didn't even drink any wine, but we got a bottle of wine. We ate dinner, and then we went for a car ride. I think we took the dogs with us. We got some stuff for our garden, and then Starbucks was closed. Starbucks. She's, but I want Starbucks. I'm like, but it's closed. It's closed. She goes on her phone on Mr. Gooks, and she's like, oh, there's a Starbucks that's open. And it's like in a different city, but it's date night. So I used to be like, come on, we're not going there. We're just going home, right? But I've learned my lesson. And she goes, okay, I don't want Starbucks because it's like, 4 or 5 miles away. But it was closing in 15 minutes. And I know my wife like the back of my hand now. Like Tony Robbins talks about this. He says, if you're driving with your wife and you're like traveling somewhere and she's like, are you in the mood? Or no, do you want ice cream or something? Or do you have to use the bathroom? The man will usually go, nah, and just keep on driving. But what she's really communicating is, I want Starbucks. I want ice cream. But she's saying it like in this way that like you're supposed to be a mind reader, but I've learned how to read the mind, folks. I've got this. So I'm in the wrong lane because like I thought we were just going home. No. I've been down this path before. I literally cut across 3 lanes safely. And I was like, she's like, where are you going? I'm like, we're going to Starbucks. She's like, so we go all the way to Starbucks, man. And then if she orders like some like hot white chocolate mocha with 2 pumps of raspberry, half a thing of this and this. And I'm like, and then we finally get the thing and they're out of whipped cream, folks. Out of whipped cream. But the wife of Tron is a genius. She says, you guys got to have something. So the Starbucks employee was like, well, we have this, it was like this white sugary cream stuff. She's like, can you gently froth it on ice so it turns into cream and then just put some of that on the coffee, on the hot chocolate, whatever? He's like, sure. Closes the window. I know I'm tipping this dude. Tipping him happily. And then he gives us our hot chocolate with perfectly frothed whipped cream, 2 pumps of raspberry. And then I give it to my wife, and my wife goes like this. She takes a sip. I'm like, oh God, please. I'm just kidding. She takes a sip, and she goes, oh, it's everything. This is this new shit. It's everything. What does this even mean? It's everything. It's how can something be everything? She says, it's everything. So I was like, oh, she says she's happy. Then we return home, tickle her and rub her back. She's like, all right, I'm getting too fucking personal here. I'm so in love with my wife. It's insane. I'm so in love with her. I can't even stand it. She's the most exciting, hottest woman I've ever. Okay, back to being normal. Okay, so content, commerce, and community. Folks, it's been a great time. It's been a great day. I got to go prepare some proposals. I know you do as well. I value and respect your time. And you know what I want for dinner tonight? I'm in the mood for I want breakfast for dinner. All right. I'll see you tomorrow at 4 p.m. I'm pretty sure we're going to have the founder of Footbridge Media, marketing consulting. They build websites, do SEO, everything. They're marketing geniuses. Okay. We're going to have the owner, founder of Footbridge Media on here. We're also affiliated with them, and he's going to be giving amazing tips about how to market your business, how to view your marketing, how to set aside a proper budget for marketing your business, for growth trajectories. Amazing shit. See you tomorrow at 4 p.m. on my YouTube channel at Keith Kelfis. And another quick announcement, we're having some technical difficulties on the Untrapped podcast, which is my podcast on all major platforms. We're usually pumping out podcasts, like the actual audio version you could just listen to every Monday. We haven't released one in a couple Mondays, but rest assured there's going to be a lot of podcasts coming out. And then that's all. I'm super excited. I wish the best for you, and I'll see you soon. I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in. Hope that was fun.